Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is James, also known as the Ogre, and today I will be going over part 5 of What If Deku Was the Shield Hero. So, that being said, where we last left off, Izuku and Raftalia had gotten their gear and everything and figured out where the town was. So, now Izuku and Raftalia collect their belongings, and they travel to the village of Loot. On the way there, they kill monsters left and right, and they don't really have any issues. And the reason why they're traveling to Loot because they heard from the blacksmith that there are mines and stuff near that have ores that he can make weapons from. So this is why they're going there, and once they get to Loot, they go to by the shop to get information and stuff like that, and they go and battle. They go and get mining gear and stuff like that. So they head to the mine. On the way to the mine, Izuku's talking to Raftalia, and he's like, "So what? So, like, do you want to talk about your parents?" And Raftalia's like, "I'm fine, master." As they're going through, Izuku has slain a couple of monsters on the way. And as they're mining, Raftalia kind of opens up a little bit. She's like, well, because Izuku asks her directly what's going on, like you've been screaming in your sleep for the past couple of weeks. And Izuku is noticeably concerned, and Raftalia's like, it's fine, master. So they've both reached level 30, around level 30 at this point. And they've killed a bunch of bug monsters. They find the ore and they begin to mine. And while Izuku's doing this, he's telling explaining to Raftalia more about his life when he was a kid. Basically, he says, Raftalia, when I was younger, I wasn't this strong. And Raftalia's like, master, that's impossible. You're so strong. How did you get this way? How are you so strong then? And Izuku says, well, my entire life up until I was 15, until I was almost 4, until I was 14 years old, in my world, people that are viewed, that don't have quirks, have a stigmatism behind them that they are worthless. And that's kind of where my nickname comes from. And Reptilia's like, what do you mean? And Izuku's like, well, a childhood friend I had, well, we're kind of friends now, but for almost 10 years, because I never manifested my quirk, I was picked on a lot for being quirkless, and Kotsky really got into it, and literally made my life a living hell. But then one day, like I said before, I was rescued by a hero, and matter of fact, he was the #1 hero and my idol. And he trained me for 10 months, and during my entrance exam for my school, and he explains that every school has a type of entrance ceremony, basically stuff that you have to do to get in. And Raptalia is in awe at this and everything, and Izuku's like, yeah, and then my quirk manifested. The first time my quirk manifested, I broke both my legs and my right arm. And Raftalia looks at him and is like, how's that even possible? You're so strong and your defense is so high. And he's like, well, my defense is probably increased because of this, but I don't really do that anymore. But if I go overboard, I will break my bones again. And this, like, gets Raftalia even, like, more shocked. Because up until this point, Izuku hasn't really shown that he has any, like, physical weakness towards a lot of stuff. And so Izuku goes on again, and it's like, yeah, I've learned how to control my quirk, because most kids by that time have had years to learn how to use their quirk and everything, and that was the first time I ever used it, and I ended up saving. And Izuku kind of like stops modding for a second, and then Raftalia goes, "What's wrong, Master Midoriya?" And he's like, "Well, I saved a girl, and recently I've hope I can get it. I can get back and let her know how I feel." And Raftalia is a little concerned about this, but then Izuku smiles and says, "It's nothing. It's just knowing that I could possibly die here and never being able to see her again kind of makes me worry, you know?" And then Izuku says, and so that brings me to my point with you, Raftalia. It doesn't matter how weak you are. If you train, you can become strong. I went through hell the past 2 years of my life to get this power. I trained my body. I broke myself so many times. And it took me a while to learn to control my power. But that being said, you're born into a world where everyone can use magic or like knows like certain skills that they can use in combat, and I just wanted to point out that yeah, I started out weak, probably weaker than you, and I grew to be this strong through intensive training, and I did have to give up on certain inhibitions that I had. And about at this time, like, they start hearing, like, a large monster coming and everything, and Isugu says, like, "Get ready, Raftalia, we're in for a fight." And as this thing comes out of the cave, he's, like, Raftalia sees it, that it's a demon dog, and she kind of starts freezing up, and the thing goes for her. But before that, Izuku basically jumps in and takes the brunt of the attack, and then the dog kind of bites into Izuku, and he yells back at Raftalia. It's like, "Raftalia, you've got to fight. This is your moment. Prove to yourself, prove to everyone that you're not a weakling, that you're not worthless. You've got to move. One thing that showed me that I've seen in you is that you have a will to live. And my master saw something in me as well. You need to fight. Like, you can't just let everyone deal with your problems yourself. In this world, it's crueler than mine. No one's going to be able to save you if worse comes to worse. You got to be able to save yourself. Now fight!" "But I can't." And then Izuku yells back. He's like, "I know. Something like this killed your parents. But if you're going to sit there and do nothing, everything's going to repeat itself. You've got to defend yourself. You got to use that pain, that anguish. Use it as fuel. Even if you have to get angry, use that. So that what you went through, no one ever has to go through themselves again." And at this, Raftalia, like, kind of breaks and goes to attack the dog, and then she gets, like, swatted away. And Izuku smiles at this. He's like, she finally did it. She finally came over her fears. And at this point, Izuku kind of just, like, grabs the dang dog's mouth with his hands and basically pulls its jaw off, and then, like, rips the other head off. And Raftalia sees this, and she's like, I'm sorry, Master, you're hurt. Are you okay?" And then Izuku kind of, like, looks at his shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, that's just a scratch, but good job. You do have it in you. You do have the will to fight, to keep going, even against all odds. You weren't the best match for this because you weren't skilled enough, but you still acted to protect someone else. And that is the essence of being a hero. And if you want to be a hero in this world, you can't think twice. You've got to act. And Izuku kind of like collapses, and then Raftalia remembers something Izuku gave her, and she takes it out and pours it over his wound and everything, and it's healed. And Izuku looks up at her and it's like, you didn't have to do that, Raftalia. That was for you for emergencies. And this is when Raftalia starts breaking down crying. It's like, Master, it was an emergency. You were hurt, and I don't know. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And Izuku kind of puts his head on her head and pats her and is like, it's fine, but you do know, like, the training is going to get more intense, and we don't really have that much time to until the next wave, probably. And there's something I remembered. I figured out with this. That us Cardinal Heroes can go to towns and everything, town centers to where we've been before. So they collect up more ore, and Izuku feeds the demon dog to his shield. And Izuku's kind of like put all the ore into his shield too, basically like auto-function refining it. Because he learned from like the villagers that the reason why they haven't been able to go to the mines is because of all the demon beasts that were in there. And he learned like what materials were needed for the refinement of the ore, and he was like, oh, so it's kind of like steel. Like, you kind of need like coal, and you need this and that. Well, coal is pretty easy to come by. And so, like, he spends like a day more, and the villagers like compensate him and are profusely thanking him because now they can make money for the village again, because Izuku basically cleared out the entire mines of like dangerous beasts and stuff that normal people wouldn't be able to handle. So he's taking care of everything, and one of the villagers that he found on the way there, he did end up helping heal. No, that's in a different part. Yeah, that's in a different part. So I'll go over that. I was getting ahead of my points because I lost my track in my notes, but so they thank him, and they ask, like, is there anything we can do for you? And Ezekiel's like, well, you guys have given me so much. You've given me information, and that's what it is. That's that. And Izuku tells Raftalia to hold on a moment. And he brings up his screen, and it says, teleport. And Izuku basically, like Raftalia and him, fast travel back to the capital, and they're making their way to the blacksmith shop, and a few people had talked about under the breath about the shield hero, and Izuku just kind of glaring at them, and a few kids have run up to him, and like they says, you're back, and everything. And so he kind of says, like, yeah, like, are you guys okay? Has everything going good? And they're like, yeah, like, I can't believe that what they're saying about you is true, Sir Shield Hero. And he's just like, that's fine, like, you guys learn from your, like, if you want to be a hero, if you want to be like the other Cardinal Heroes, that's fine. But you've got to be good people, you know? Treat other people, no matter what they look like, with respect. And he goes on his way, and Izuku makes his way to the herbalist shop, drops off some more medicine, and gets more coin, and then he gets to the blacksmith shop. And the blacksmith's like, it's about time, right, for the wave to begin. And so Izuku's like, yeah, but like, how can I tell? And he's like, well, the dragon hourglass has like a timer and everything. And so Izuku gives like the blacksmith refined ore and like quite a bit of it, and he's like, what's how'd you get all this? And it's already refined? That's gonna be making smithing a lot easier. What do you need? Oh, Sir Shield Hero. And he's like, well, I kind of need more armor, because like that leather armor did get banged up a little bit, and Reptalia needs a better sword than like an iron one, and I heard this ore is pretty amazing. And the blacksmith says, well, it'll take me a couple days for the armor, but I can have that weapon done by tomorrow morning. It'll be done by tomorrow morning. And so Izuki's thinking, it's like, okay, so we have until the next day. We have until tomorrow morning before our sword is done. And then Izuku's like, so where is this hourglass? And he says, well, the Church of the Three Heroes. So they make it their way, and Izuku sees the dragon hourglass, and he's like, whoa, so this is the dragon hourglass. And then a notification pops up that he has a little under 24 hours, and he's like, okay, so we'd have to go collect our sword before that starts, and by the time it's done, we'd have a couple hours before that. So Izuku's thinking, he's like, okay, so we've already used the potion, and like I have a little bit more gold. So he's thinking, and he's like doing his mumbling thing, and Reptalia kind of like walks up beside him and is like, Master Midoriya, what's going on, Master Midoriya, you're rambling again. And Izuku's like, oh, sorry, that's I kind of do that a lot, don't I? And Reptalia is like, yes, you quite do. And Izuku is noticeably flustered by that statement, and he's like, well, let's go buy the potion shop. I need some reagents, because we weren't able to find quite a few of them, and I may be able to make some more of those healing potions. And so they do that, and Izuku basically spends half of what he had made on this trip on some reagents, and basically fed them to his shield and set up an automated process to make the potions. And these will be of higher quality than what he was able to make by hand, because he understands it, and the shields can pretty much make these things like automated. And the enhancement of the the leaf shield is basically what does it. And so they spend time like that day kind of resting, and Izuku gets them a night, and they do end up, before like heading to get food and stuff, they do head back to the herbalist shop. And this time the herbalist is like, what's going on? What else do you need, Mr. Shield Hero? And Izuku basically gives him some silver, and he's like, do you think you can locate a book about medicine that's of high quality medicines? And he's like, sure, but it may take some time. And Izuku's like, that's fine, just if you could get on it. So he's noticeably going to be stronger than what Naofumi was, and I believe I'm coming up on 20 minutes total I'm gonna have to cut a little bit of the last video because a notification came up that it has some private information of someone in it. So that being said, I'm going to end this video here, and in the next episode we'll cover the Battle of Loot Village and the Wave. So that being said, thank you guys so much for all the support. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.